One thing about Florence Pugh is she does not miss. So imagine putting her in a film that is just designed to rip you in half and devastate you. So you put someone with that kind of precision and accuracy with one of the most devastating pouts ever, alongside one of the most charming actors of our time, like Andrew Garfield, Florence Pugh. This is just inspired casting. There are big movies that take avant-garde risks and take you places that you never could have imagined. And then there's small, very mundane movies that deal with very ordinary people that's only elevated by the performances in themselves. Hi, my name is Emily, or La Movie Mija. I'm a part-time filmmaker, full-time movie lover, and this is my review of We Live in Time. Welcome back to my channel. I don't know where you are in the world, but I hope you're having a wonderful day. I most certainly am, because it is getting a little chilly here in Southern California. It finally took a turn. We're leaving the triple digit heat, and I get to throw on a cardigan, which is such a treat. And of course, if you are from somewhere in the Midwest or the East Coast, I am sure that your fall and your winter is a lot more harsh. I know, I lived on the East Coast for a number of years. It snowed on Halloween one time. I know that this isn't cold, but it's cozy, and I appreciate that I can, get a warm beverage in the morning. But I have been on my iced pumpkin spice Bustelo kick. Oh, it is so good. Are you an iced coffee when it's cold kind of person? Let me know how you take your coffee, and while you're doing that, I really hope that you like and subscribe to my channel. You can expect new movie reviews from me every single week, and sometimes I'll even take you to the movies with me. Most recently, I went to go see a double feature of The Ring and Paranormal Activity at the Heritage Museum in Los Angeles, and it was such a cool venue. I also was just seeing The Ring for the very first time, and wow, that movie was so much more aesthetically gorgeous than I anticipated. But we're not here to talk about creepy things. We're here to talk about cozy, autumnal, wrap you up in love and swaddle me like a baby, because I just cried like one things. Let's get into it. An up-and-coming chef and recent divorcee find their lives forever changed when a chance encounter brings them together in a decade-spanning, deeply moving romance. Directed by John Crowley, written by Nick Payne, the film stars Florence Pugh, Andrew Garfield, Lee Braithwaite, and Adam James. So, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 times, or maybe one time, but continuously? Oh, sorry, I thought you were asking me how many times I cried throughout this movie. Yes, this movie is a big tearjerker. That is no surprise to anybody who saw the trailer. It is screaming, you are going to be devastated, bring some tissues. But what I wasn't expecting about this movie was that it is genuinely funny in moments. There is some moments of brevity, of humor. I mean, Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield are naturally funny people, and they bring a lot of their naturalisms to this movie and to their characters. In the film, Florence Pugh plays a Bavarian fusion chef. She's very headstrong and independent. She really doesn't need love, or seems like she's looking for it, in the same way that Tobias is. Tobias is played by Andrew Garfield, and he is a lovesick recent divorcee. He seems like he's more bumbling and just sweet and soft around the edges. And at one point, this is not a spoiler because it's revealed pretty early on in the film, Alma is diagnosed with ovarian cancer. So a majority of the film is revolving around this couple trying to navigate around their different paths that she can take throughout this sickness, what the implications are for their future and their family life, and them falling in love and navigating the very treacherous and hard task that is surrendering your life to share with somebody else. Now, a major component of this film that's either going to wreck your experience or wreck you in a good way is the fact that this film is told through a non-linear format. This was a big surprise for me, but I think it's worth knowing going into this film. You are going to be jumping around to various points of their relationship, pre-diagnosis, post-diagnosis, when they first met. A meet cute that I have never seen done like this before. It's quite charming, but it's also so silly. All the different stages in a relationship being condensed to this movie and being told out of order. It's a really jarring experience, and about halfway through I didn't know exactly how I felt about it, but what I found most compelling about matching the subject matter of cancer and love and family with that non-linear format is The idea that grief and loss are continuous when you're dealing with something like that. You're not just saying goodbye to someone once, it feels like you're saying goodbye to them over and over again. Along with the themes of grief and cancer and loss and falling in love and that surrender that you have to really commit yourself to other people makes this for a very unique viewing experience. It could be a little jarring because there's not a lot of cues to tell you that you are in different times besides the very subtle nods in the hair and makeup for Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh. Most notably, Florence Pugh's bangs are going to help you know where and when you are. But I do think it's a very bold and substantive choice to explore the themes of cancer and loss and grief with this non-linear format because it's forcing you to go on a journey with these characters, surrendering yourself to what they think is most important in their lives. It's not so much getting from point A to point B. You have to be able to open yourself up to the experience of looking at these swatches of these two people's lives and their experiences together in a way that feels organic to them. That's how I reconciled with this. I felt like I was listening to someone like recount their lives. I felt like I was seeing someone's life flash before their eyes, and that experience was wholly unique, even though the movie itself doesn't go anywhere new as far as romance and drama and relationships. I felt like the story itself was very predictable. I feel like if this story was told in a linear format, I think that the biggest thing going for it is the performances. I don't feel like they push far enough in the realms of comedy or drama or loss and grief to, rise to the top of the echelon for romantic dramas. However, I do feel like this is like some of the most top tier acting and chemistry and romantic acting that we've seen from two people. Florence Pugh is immaculate in this movie. Like, there is incredible chemistry between the two of them throughout the film, and Andrew is fantastic in his own right. Seeing him in Tick Tick Boom fundamentally changed me, and he is operating at that same level for this one. It's just that Florence Pugh has so much more to do. This role is so much more challenging and asking of her. There's a lot of demands that she rises to the occasion for. I wouldn't be mad to see her in contention for an Oscar or any kind of awards this upcoming award season for this performance. It is a challenging role and it is so demanding, but there aren't a lot of flourishes. And that goes back to the overall tone of this movie. It's not like a wide swath of emotions, like highs and lows. It's very much contained, and seeing this performance be so contained, a little muted, a little more quiet, was so impressive because they are expressing so much about these very real feeling characters and very ordinary events. There's not these huge flourishes, there's not these grandiose moments. The peaks and valleys are not as obvious as you would see in a Netflix made for TV romantic comedy movie. This is a lot more quiet, a lot more of a simmer, and just so exquisite. One aspect of the film that really didn't land for me is, oddly enough, the music selection. I feel like I know that I'm very sensitive to score and music choices in film, so take whatever I say with a grain of salt if that doesn't matter as much to you. But there are a couple of big sweeping scenes in this movie that could have given me butterflies, could have taken my breath away had the music not telegraphed exactly what was going to happen. Like I mentioned, the story itself is kind of predictable. There's little moments like that something's going to happen. And the music was even more damning in those moments because it would swell up just a moment too soon, letting us know exactly what was going to happen. Or at least that's how I felt. I'm not sure if everyone's going to experience that, but I do think that they were telegraphing things that we were already anticipating with those music cues, and we didn't need them. You have Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield operating at a very high level. We don't need this very heavy-handed score to tell us how to feel in those moments. These actors are giving us everything. Overall, I found this movie to be very moving and profound, and I did cry here and there. I didn't reach a full sob. I didn't feel the full weight of devastation in this movie, and I think that could be a byproduct of the choice to pursue the nonlinear format because, if we saw the story in sequence, you might build to that moment. Instead, there's moments that I'm crying throughout. My whole theater was like a symphony of sniffles the whole time. We're getting just like little bits of that emotional catharsis throughout because it's so like jumbled in its presentation. But again, I do admire that choice because I feel like that is the most novel thing about this movie. The territory that we're in as far as loss and grief and falling in love all feels very familiar. The characters themselves are very wonderful, and I think that's more of a testament to our performers than it is for the actual screenplay. And I think it's lovely that when you anchor a movie that has very ordinary events with so much realism, is that you can find yourself feeling like you've had the conversations that you're seeing play out on screen. And it feels like we have this oddly universal life we're all living, just in different ways with different people in different times. But don't just take my word for it. Let me know what you think of We Live in Time. Did you cry? Did you find the nonlinear format effective? And how many movies do you think Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh should make together? Because I think at least seven, and I will be happy. But that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a cozy drink and a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you next time. Bye.